The biggest risk in our lives is not taking chances. It's doing what everyone else is doing. Hey everybody, Mike Baltazar here. Thank you so much for joining me today on Tuesday for another taco. Taco is an acronym for the truth always comes out, taco. And so in today's taco, what we're talking about is how we sometimes think we're playing it safe by not taking chances. How many of us know that there is a lot of risk in not doing something, not taking the chances? And here's the thing is we oftentimes get a lot of comfort doing what everyone else is doing, knowing that we're part of the quote unquote norm. But how many of us know that sometimes we have greater gifts and greater opportunities than what the average person has? And so sometimes when we play safe, we relinquish the opportunities that we have to not only improve our lives and put us in a different standing, but also how we could be a blessing to other people. And I'm guilty of that. I'm preaching to the guy in the camera right now. But I think a lot of people don't attribute failure to the fact that they've just been following the crowd, and how sometimes there's some people, there's segments of society out there that are okay with failure. Actually, they look forward to it because they tell themselves, hey, I know this isn't going to work out, but I'm going to give it a try because it looks like it could be some fun. Well, they've already lost the game because they're playing to fail and not trying to win. And how many of us know that when we're trying to win and we're trying to go out there and move mountains, can we literally move mountains? No, but can we accomplish a lot in the process of doing that? It's kind of like, shooting for the stars and landing on the moon, that whole saying, right? So I want to just launch from that point today because I meet and greet so many people personally, professionally, those that are trying to fight addiction or overcome divorce, and others who are just trying to just find their place in their profession and balance work and home. And so one of the things I challenge them to do, and again, this is an assignment I've done time and time again, and I'm actually ramping it up as we speak right now, is to let's not look at what everybody else is doing. Let's look at our lives. What is the best possible decision that I can make right now? Not an hour from now, not a day from now, not a month or a year from now, like right now. What can I do right now that's going to move the needle? What can I do today that's going to add value to those I care most about? And how can I find ways to hit two birds with one stone while adding value to those I care about? And it could be personally, it could be professionally, it could be a familial relationship, it could be a romantic relationship, but all the while, where can I shine my light? Not the light that everyone else is shining and being like everybody else, but myself individually. And again, this circles back to the fact that sometimes we don't like to take chances because we want to conform to what everyone else is doing. And I think that's why they have that assignment out there, that challenge out there, to really analyze the 5 people that we surround ourselves with the most. And because we're going to ultimately elevate to those levels, or we're going to be pulled down by the people that we hang out with the most. And so one of the reasons why this is super important to me is because I'm in a consulting position. I consult people with their mortgages and their finances and really big decisions. And this is something that I've taken a lot of honor in over the last 28 years. And every single family is unique and different. And so I make sure just to listen and just, number one, make sure they feel heard, seen, comfortable, and that they feel like they have all the information they need to make a really good decision. And then, of course, they lean on me to sometimes, be that tie-breaking decision. And so I love to empower people with the fact that, number one, it's about them, and that they get to blaze their own trail, that they don't have to do everything that they see online or everything that their parents tell them to do, or the coworkers at the water cooler, their little advice, right? And I take a lot of honor to just make sure they own that decision, not me. And so how do we do that? I encourage them to think for themselves. Let them know that, there's no cookie cutter for anything in life, and especially when it comes to real estate and finance. And so with that in mind, I want to also apply that to our personal lives, because I think sometimes we think that we're doing the right thing by playing it safe, when in actuality we're compromising our well-being, and maybe the well-being of those that we care about, for those that have children at home, their financial futures. And it's not just about monies. Sometimes it's about quality time, and sometimes it's not about time and money, but it's just being a really good example. Not preaching and teaching all the time, but without words all the time, letting our actions speak for ourselves. And there's a really big cost in being average. And I'm going to take a step back and let that sink in a little bit. There's a really big cost in being average. And what does average mean? Well, it just means that we're like the average human, the average person. If we're in a certain profession, like the average such and such. If we're a parent or a spouse, we're an average dad, or we're an average husband. There's a lot of cost in that, because I know each and every one of us has the opportunity to step into our own genius. And when we are in our genius, I can promise you this, it doesn't look average, and the results are not average. And so there's a huge cost in being average. There's a huge cost in playing it safe. And there's so many stories out there, especially in sports. And I know it becomes so cliche, especially when you read all the Michael Jordan quotes, because that's a guy who relished in going above and beyond what was expected of him. And he didn't care about failure. He actually looked forward to it, because he was playing the odds. He was playing the statistics. He was wanting to go places where no one else has gone. And I know not everyone can have a Jordan mentality. I know not everybody can have the Mamba mentality, but what we can have is we can have our own mentality. Fill in the blanks. Like I can have a Mike Baltazar mentality. And what does that look like? Well, it looks like however I want it to look. And the results will follow. We don't have to micromanage the results. We don't have to be God in our own lives. We can just submit and surrender to the higher authority, and then just maximize the gifts and talents that was bestowed upon us, that was entrusted to us. And that's not being average. And that's not avoiding taking chances. And so in this T.A.C.O, truth always comes out, in this T.A.C.O that I'm delivering to you today, I just want to challenge you. And I wrote something down here, and I just want to just challenge you. And you don't have to do a written assignment. I know I like to do a lot of journaling, so I hand those out. So I'm not going to do that, but I do want to give you something to meditate on. Fear-based decisions protect your ego, but they limit your future. I know we didn't talk a lot about fear-based decisions, but how many of us know that when we're playing it safe, it's because we're fearful of not playing it safe. And sometimes when we decide to not take a chance, we're actually taking a huge chance that we are going to regret that decision. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining me on this T.A.C.O on T.A.C.O Tuesday. And looking forward to seeing everyone tomorrow on our webinar Wednesday. And one last thing is I'm actually going to do a special episode of T.A.C.O Tuesday today, but in the mortgage sense. I don't like to talk too much business on this particular platform, but I'm going to put it on my business page, and then I'll share it with those that want to check it out. I might even just, share it here on this page here, but nonetheless, just know this: I have your best interest in mind. I am taking time out of my busy day to making sure that I step outside of my comfort zone, take a few chances, and that I add value to those that I care about the most, which is each and every one of you.